Hey, good morning. How y'all doing? It is Well Red Beard. It's a damn fine day to talk about a book, and here we are talking about Exposed Nerves by Lucy A. Snyder. This is a poetry collection from Raw Dog Screaming Press. It's my third read of Lucy's work, having done Garden of Eldritch Delights, Halloween Season, and now Exposed Nerves. First of all, look at these three covers. I mean, I don't know if there's a random award for like three covers side by side, but wow, those are beautiful covers. And if there was a random award for three cover, Lucy would win. That's the point I'm trying to make. Anyway, so I want to tell you that I gave both of these books 3 stars. It's not that they missed for me. It's not that I didn't like her short fiction. I just liked it, right? They were 3-star books for me. That's not the case anymore. This is a 5-star poetry read. I loved this poetry collection, and I'll be honest with you, I read it fast over the weekend. I read the first half on in the car on the way to somewhere, and the last half on the way back from somewhere. And so I didn't really give it the I like to read poetry slow and reread it and out loud, and I didn't really give it the attention that it deserved. And I knew that I liked it. Like, I knew that there were 2 or 3 poems in here that I absolutely loved. But I didn't really know how much I loved the collection until I sat and started to prepare for this review. This is a 5-star poetry read for me. And what I like about it is the premise, and that premise is kind of set up here in the foreword that is written by Mary Terzillo, I believe. First of all, let me see who did the cover. Stephen Archer did this cover. It's a fine cover. Anyway, Mary Terzillo writes the foreword, and it talks about Lucy's power animal being an oyster. I know, right? The oyster that Snyder slyly refers to as an unlikely muse creates a jewel, a thing of beauty and value from an irritant, a goad that causes her, as a master poet, to sing out. In this superb collection, she exposes social hypocrisy and vanity, but in a way that enlightens. Acts of injustice and attitudes of oppression are motes of grit that generate striking poetic pearls. That is cool, right? That is cool. Yeah, there's a lot of women's issues here. There's a lot of issues with the American medical system, and there's just a lot of great stuff. All these motes, all of these things, these irritants that Lucy's created beautiful poetry about. I mean, some racism issues and things like that. So I have marked a bunch of things that I liked. Now, some of them I'm just going to tell you I liked this poem. Some of them I'm going to read the poem. Some of them I'll just pull like a bit of text. But 5-star poetry collection. I really dug this book. So the first one that I marked here, Silences. The newborn won't cry, not even after the surgery to remove its rotting twin. Unmade parents lying awake, 3 a.m., exhausted in the dark, the father's quiet dressing, slipping out into the cold gray dawn, destination unknown, too dazed to make the hard turn. The soft November snowfall blanketing the overturned car, 15 frantic texts unseen, muted in a red-soaked coat. And that one's called Silences. Dark, right? Car accident. I dug that one. It's far from my favorite, but I marked it and I wanted to share it with you. There are some in here, though, that just blew me away. So let me see if I can get to that. It's fine. It is my favorite poem in the book, and the foreword talked about this one a bit. So I was kind of set up a bit for it when I got to it, as a man, it struck me funny, just kind of the short-sightedness of things that folks of my species or my gender or whatever, things that we could say, just I guess unsympathetic, lack of understanding type of things. But anyway, I want to. I normally don't dive into reading these poems without saying there's a very good chance I'm going to make a mistake and have to stop or whatever. But I love this poem. It's called "It's Fine." Our host asked the room about the worst pain we'd ever experienced, and the men merrily recounted terrible toothaches, tales of bad tattoos on skin over bone, and kidney stones, all purely awful but somehow delightful after time's anesthesia. Someone looked at me, and I gave a clipped 3-syllable reply: miscarriage. There's no brave moral in my old, frail story. 3 days in darkness, wishing for Percocet, praying for death. Feeling every single cell of a future I wanted badly, bleeding mercilessly away. The men pretended I hadn't said a word. A raconteur took over, grinning about his kid headbutting his nuts. Laughter charged in like brave Saint Michael. The dragon of my grief coiled silent inside me, but I smiled and drank, fronting proper cheer, and it was fine. It was just fucking fine. Wow. Tell me that is not a badass poem. I'll fight you. No, I'm kidding. It's a badass poem. I love that poem. And then In Spite of It is another one that I love. But before I read that, because I am going to read In Spite of It, actually, you know what? I may not. I feel that I've already shared with you my favorite part about this book. Just let me give you the first stanza of In Spite of It. A friend asked me how I can still create in the face of our constant crushing dismay at seeing women harassed, gaslit, witch-burnt, doxxed, cast aside. And I replied that I still create because if I stop, then what? I will be miserable. The bullies and creeps will keep being rotten. Why shouldn't I stick to my keys? All right, I'll stop there, but you see what I'm saying. I mean, women's issues, doxxed, harassed, gaslit, witch burnt. But how can I stop creating? Anyway, cool piece. Dug it. Probably my second favorite in the book. There's a line in Lessons, and I'm just going to share the line. It's the very last line of the poem. But silence in the face of lies shines falsehoods brighter than a library of facts. Silence in the face of lies shines falsehoods brighter than a library of facts. Dug that. And then there's one here called My Neighbor Post to the Apartment Page, and it's kind of about a Karen. I mean, it starts, I'm writing to say I saw a stranger at exactly 6:55 a.m. in our parking lot. She was a small black woman with a red purse. She had a big silver sail and was frowning at it. So, it's talking about, I'm concerned. There's a black woman in the parking lot. Well, why shouldn't I be concerned? You know what? It's within my rights to call the police, and this and that. But we get down to this part here. I'm entitled to my right to call the police instead of listening to the likes of her. I don't care if the cops shot some boy playing with a toy. I don't have time to worry about anyone but myself. So it's the Karen, and we've seen it on the news. We've seen it on the social media, right? The Karen calling the cops about, the black man walking his dog or the black woman. I mean, just, present day shit, real life shit, but in a beautiful, poetic form. And then Dawn. Now, this is the last one I'll talk about, but in Dawn, we talk about those feelings of inadequacy, disappointment, I don't. Do you have those? Do you have those feelings? Like, do you feel like you're not good enough? I mean, do you feel like you're failing, maybe as a parent, or you're always running late? You're always behind on work. I mean, the towel. We don't have enough clean towels. You know, things like that, right? The dishes need to be done. I burnt dinner. I say all these things. Look, I've said it before. I'm a work at home dad, and I have been since day one. So I do a lot of cooking and laundry. I'm not just speaking out of my ass. But anyway, so the rare instance. Again, it's called dawn. The rare instance when you awaken simply a human on cool, soft sheets, not a floundering father, nor a mother frantically late, nor a solitary disappointment to bosses, friends, or yourself. And I'll stop there, but that rare instance when you awaken and everything's okay, just for a second. Now with me, when I wake up, I realize that I better walk the damn dog or he's going to pee in the floor. But anyway, so look, I really, really, really liked this poetry collection. I loved it, actually. I gave it 5 stars. This is Exposed Nerves by Lucy A. Snyder. This is Raw Dog Screaming Press. There's a very good chance this will be my poetry collection of the month. It'll be talked about again at the end of the year for possible poetry collection of the year. And that's it. This is Well Read Beard. This has been my review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all your books. All of them as much as I am. If not, you're reading the wrong books. One more thing, to quote David Joy, read poetry. For God's sake, read poetry.